Why am I unhappy? I have a wonderful husband. By wonderful, I mean that he loves me with every breath he takes. Of course, I love him now and have loved him for many years. He is very supportive of our family. The girls love him. He is a wonderful person and a joy to be around. The neighbors do not hesitate to ask him for help with anything computer-related, and believe me, they ask for a lot. I would never have guessed that he would want another woman besides me. He doesn't even flirt. Derek almost always satisfies me in bed and gets upset if I don't have an orgasm. I know he's a pretty good lover because before we got married, I had a few lovers I could compare him to. Derek was the best I've ever had, but I've come to realize that my knowledge base is over 20 years old. For most of our marriage, I didn't even think about straying. In the last year or so, I never thought I would risk having an affair. That is, until the incident with Roger. You see, when I turned 45 and was not far from an empty nest, I found that I needed more reassurance that I was still an attractive woman from someone other than my husband. Although Derek always said I was more beautiful than ever, I look at myself in the mirror. The breasts that were perky are now sagging. Wrinkles are appearing on cheeks that were smooth. I have to get the gray out of my hair. The bum that used to fit in a chair is now starting to roll over the edge. I can still look good with makeup and a matching dress, but how long will it last? I started daydreaming about what another lover might do. I began to think of safe ways to go out with other men if I dared. Other men, like TV and film stars, sometimes came to mind when Derek and I were making love. The new, good-looking young guys who came into our office could make me sweat just thinking about how horny they were. I started tidying up my work wardrobe, cropped skirts, bras that lifted my breasts, and unbuttoning my blouse. Compliments from men at work became more frequent. The changes in my wardrobe were noticed. Roger was a handsome man who had been flirting with me at work for several years, but I never took it seriously until one day I was feeling particularly frisky. I immediately decided to call his bluff and asked what we were going to do together. He replied immediately and locked the door to my office. The feelings that had been building up for several months caused my morals to spontaneously combust. Without thinking of the consequences, I attacked him passionately and angrily. The clothes were thrown away. My desk was cleared. I bent over him and he penetrated me completely with his first thrust. It was at high speed. It was amazing. It caused an orgasm. It was fantastic. We're so lucky we didn't get caught. Our clothes were put back on in record time. He left, and I sat stunned in my chair before putting things back on the table. I used a lot of face wipes and wiped up the liquid between my legs that had spilled on the floor. I had to spray an air freshener to kill the smell of making love. The excitement of what we were doing was amazing. It took us a good hour to get back to work. This supposedly one-off affair left us both wanting more. Realizing that our first time was too dangerous, we devised a more secret repeat. Once again, we managed to please each other and not get caught. Short, secret rendezvous were soon not enough for us. Roger worked out how we could go on a cruise together. We'd be alone for 2 weeks, and we didn't know anyone who could report us. I thought about how I was going to tell Derek that I was going to be away for 2 weeks. I think I'll use the half-truth method. I'll tell him that I need a temporary, cautious separation to regain my old middle-aged spirit. I need time to think about the future of our family, to talk to different people, to have fun, and to be free to temporarily explore some new relationships with different people. Derek will get the same freedom from me while I'm away. After 20 years of marriage and loving only one woman, he would probably like to take a little break from marriage. I doubt that Derek will go on a date with another woman, let alone do anything with her, while I'm away for so long. He loves me too much to just wait and take me back. He might sulk a bit, and I might have to promise not to do that again. I know Derek will put up with a lot to keep the woman he loves and his family safe. He also probably realizes that his finances will suffer greatly in the event of a divorce. So I'm sure he won't do anything too radical because of my spiritual quest. I'm very confident. Now I am determined to return after the cruise and become a faithful wife. I'm even looking forward to it. In fact, I plan to strangle Derek with all the love and attention he can bear when I get back. I think 2 weeks of uninhibited lovemaking during the cruise will satisfy my desires so much that I will stop seeing Roger for a long time, maybe forever. If that doesn't happen, Roger and I will have to find an even safer way of seeing each other. But I will have to avoid seeing him for several months after I am reunited with my husband. I don't want to jeopardize my future, sharing my children, grandchildren, and pension with Derek. We would have to be very, very careful. Now I just have to approach Derek in the right way. One day, when he's in a good mood, I'll find out when.
Lydia and I have finished a session that was partly like making love. I say sort of because I can tell that Lydia's heart wasn't really in it. Oh, she made all the appropriate loving noises and expressed how good it was, but the fake orgasm almost made me laugh. She did, however, manage to bring me to the climax, which seemed to be her aim. As we lay on our backs in bed, she obviously decided it was time to bring up the subject I was expecting. "Derek, you know I love you, don't you?" I thought. Finally, here it is. Thank God I'm prepared. I played along. "Yes, dear. And I know you love me, don't I?" "Of course, dear." Inside, I begged her not to go any further. "If I really needed something to help me, you'd let me have it, wouldn't you?" "Of course, dear. What do you want?" As if I didn't know. I feel the need to refresh my life. I mean my whole life, body and soul, to reassess everything, including our marriage and my motherhood. I think I could do this by simply taking a temporary trial leave from my duties as a wife and mother. You could probably use a holiday from me, too. We will all feel better when I return, rested and more determined than ever to be a better wife and mother. I feel like I need a lot of time to explore everything. "Wait, where are you going?" I walked out into the corridor and shouted in the direction of the girls' rooms. "Girls, wake up, it's time. Take your things into the kitchen." "Okay, Dad, we're not going to sleep yet. We'll be right down." "Derek, what's going on? Why are the girls going into the kitchen? There's no need to tell them now. We still have a lot to talk about. There'll be plenty of time to tell them after we've talked." "Lydia, our girls are part of the family you have just announced you want to change. They're both old enough to understand what you want and the consequences. As a family, we all need to talk about what is going to happen. I think it would be better if we all sat down at the kitchen table and everyone had a chance to talk." I went down to the kitchen, despite Lydia's pleas to speak to me alone. The coffee looked delicious, so I made myself a cup. I like the convenience of our Keurig. I didn't offer to make one for Lydia. Lydia seemed to be losing her nerve. "Derek, darling, you're making too much of this. I'm just asking for some personal time with my friend Roger." "We know." Lydia looked shocked. "Roger? Why are you talking about him? He's just a work friend." I needed time to figure out how I could make love to Roger without sneaking up on him, and at the same time keep my options open for me and the girls. "We know." "Do you? What are you talking about?" "I'm just suggesting that you take a little break and neglect my duties as a wife and mother." "Well, we'll give you a break, only we'll call it a divorce, not a trial separation or a holiday from marriage." "Derek, you're overreacting to what I've said. There is no need to talk about divorce. It won't be until September." "Girls, why do you have suitcases?" "Girls, I'm sorry. I couldn't wait. Why don't you talk to your mother while I get my suitcase?" I went upstairs but heard voices from the kitchen. Lydia spoke. "Girls, I'm afraid your father has got the wrong idea about what I've asked for." Alicia spoke first. "Be realistic, Mom. We've known for months what you and your lover are up to. I have no idea what you're talking about." Edie chimed in. "Yes, you do. We're talking about your Wednesday dinners, which have turned into Wednesday snacks, which are about to turn into a 2-week cruise with Dodger Roger." "What? There's no way you could have known. I mean, I didn't do anything like that. Roger's just a man I sometimes have lunch with." Alicia took the initiative. "Really? The first time you two decided to move your lunch to a hotel room, Dad got a call. They were looking for you in the office. You and Roger had gone over your lunchtime limit. Dad said he had no idea where you were. When you returned home that evening, he made up a story about calling you after lunch and not finding you. You lied and told him you had been in a meeting with your boss. It wasn't a lie. It was the truth. I was in a meeting with Mr. Albright. The secretary must have made a mistake. You know, she's not the most reliable person in the world." Edie said, "When did Roger become your boss and the hotel room became his office?" "Anyway, that's when Dad decided to hire a private investigator. We have lots of videos, recordings, and photos. But Mom, This loser is nowhere near as good-looking as our dad, and what a small dick he has. Ugh, I can't believe you put that in your mouth. You've become a woman of simple virtue in your old age. How dare you talk to your mother like that? Alicia replied. How dare you do what a woman of easy virtue does instead of acting like our mother? I heard Lydia reply with some anger in her voice. If your father suspected something, why didn't he tell me straight away and stop me? He obviously didn't think it was that important. I think it was Alicia who said, Mummy, you have a ring on your finger that says Daddy should never tell you not to love another man. You agreed to renounce all others in your marriage vows. Dad said that if he had stopped you this time with Roger, your desire for another man would only have been temporarily postponed. By the time you were ready to try again, you would have learned to hide your deception better. Well, he could have said something. He should have said something if it bothered him so much. It just shows that he doesn't care if I enjoy the innocent attention of another man or not. I don't understand why he's suddenly so jealous. No, Mum. He didn't tell you because he needed time to prepare. His lawyer and accountant were working out how to stop you getting your dirty hands on his money in a routine divorce. He didn't want the threat of financial ruin to influence his decision to stay married or not. A few weeks later, he came to us and told us what was going on. He showed us the video. We were disgusted by what we saw and heard. Eddie and I told him we were on his side. Dad explained that modern divorce laws favor a wife regardless of what she has done to break her marriage vows. As I said, his solicitor and accountant have spent the last few months reducing your total bills. I bet you didn't know that thanks to your cheating, Edie and I are now fully funded for college. What? That must have cost him a fortune. Where did he get the money? Oh shit, now I get it. He knows I wouldn't try to get your college money back. That's really mean of him. And the two of you have conspired with your father against me, haven't you? No, Mum. It's you and your lover who conspired against our family to either turn a blind eye to your adventures or let you destroy us while you ran off with your lover and most of Dad's money. We just covered our asses. And of course it takes a lot of effort to cover your ass, sis. Eddie's comment made them both laugh. So, girls, I said as I walked downstairs with my suitcases. Lydia looked shocked. Derek, can't we all just calm down and talk about this? I admit I may have made a big mistake. I really don't want a separation, let alone a divorce. I'll tell Roger that I was wrong to want to spend time with him. I'll never see him again. I promise. I never wanted to divorce you or go away with Roger. I just wanted to have some fun with someone else. Too little, too late, my dear. I understand that you and Roger have already paid for 2 weeks on the Love Boat. In my humble opinion, you two should really enjoy the trip, because I expect your lives to be a lot more difficult when you get back. What do you mean by that? Firstly, you will have to take care of all the housework and other responsibilities yourself, because the girls and I will be living in a new apartment. Secondly, oh, Dad, which one did you choose? Please let it be the one with the hot tub. The day before yesterday, when I last checked, it was still available. We may have to spend a few nights in a hotel room until we know whether it's available or not, but I'm pretty sure we'll get the apartment we want. The girls showed their happiness and excitement. As I said, secondly, I don't think you'll be alone here. After all, Roger has to live somewhere. Madge told me, Madge, do you know Roger's wife? She shouldn't mind our trip. She doesn't care. Her divorce is almost final anyway. I suppose Roger told you that. The truth is that their divorce came as a surprise to Madge when I met her almost 2 months ago. She had been waiting and preparing with us to be ready to react as soon as you two told us the news. I phoned her a few minutes ago while I was upstairs. I imagine Roger is being kicked out of her house right now. She said something about her older brother coming to help her take out the rubbish. He told me that she had already agreed to a divorce and that she didn't care if we went on a cruise or anywhere else. Madge said he told her he had to go to California for 2 weeks of training. About a week ago, she got confirmation from his boss that there was no such training. Did she talk to Mr. Albright? What a coincidence. He's her boss too. Which brings us to the third point. When you and Roger return from your trip, you do not have to go back to work. Your boss and Roger were waiting for a word from me to fire you both. He agreed to wait, and in the meantime was looking for a replacement. He wouldn't do such a thing. Roger and I are valuable employees. You and Roger are employees whose actions would allow Madge and me to sue your company for allowing adultery on company time. He was quite pleased when we agreed to drop the suit on the condition that you both be sacked. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Lydia cried now. No, you were supposed to remain a faithful wife and mother. We were supposed to grow old, retire, and enjoy our grandchildren together. Instead, you have chosen to alienate your family, significantly reduce the amount of money you will have, and irrevocably damage your reputation. Derek, I can't believe you could treat me so badly. I thought you loved me. What else are you going to do just to spite me? I'm glad you asked. If you fight the divorce, an edited version of your escapades with Roger will get to your parents, your relatives, your colleagues, our neighbors, and they might just appear on an adult website. Although, with Roger's small male organ, it probably won't be too popular. This can't be happening. Derek, I still love you. I always came home. I just wanted to be myself for a bit. In about a month, everything would be back to normal. Now you're attacking me for no reason at all. Of course, all these years of marriage are worth giving me a little indulgence. You all have to give me a little forgiveness and a second chance. Actually, no, we don't do that. You had a second, third, fourth, and so on chance every time you decided to meet Roger instead of doing what a wife and mother should do. As for what this marriage was worth, 3 months ago it was worth everything to me. That's when I found out that our marriage and our children mean nothing to you, or at least a lot less than before. Lydia, you've hurt me very badly. I was so depressed that I might have done something to myself if it had been just the two of us. I thought about giving in to you, but then I thought that my actions would teach our girls that what you did was normal for you, and therefore for them to do with their future husbands. I couldn't do it. I was thinking about filing for a regular divorce, but the thought that I wouldn't be able to see my girls whenever I wanted helped me come to my senses, fighting the madness. After what my lawyer told me about the divorce in favor of my wife, regardless of adultery, I had a desire that you and Roger receive as little reward as possible and as much punishment as possible. I think you'll see soon that we've done a pretty good job. Now listen to me, Derek. You can't just leave with the kids. I'm their mother. The court will grant me custody in the event of a divorce. I'll charge you with kidnapping if you take them away. Don't think I won't do it. Maybe you're partly right about what you said. However, my lawyer and I plan to postpone all procedures until Edie is old enough to officially declare who she wants to live with. Alicia has already signed a notarized application. I admit that you might be able to get Edie to spend some time with you, but it probably won't do you any good. Edie intervened. Yes, Mom, do you think I used to be a rude and impulsive teenager? Just wait until I start skipping school, experimenting with drugs, and making love to boys. If this doesn't work, I'll complain that your boyfriend Roger is harassing me with your support. So you see, Lydia, we're ready. And you? Obviously not as much as I thought. You were supposed to accept a tentative breakup and maybe get upset, but in a few months you'll greet me again like a prodigal daughter. No harm, no foul. I really didn't plan for an unpleasant divorce. I just wanted you to think that divorce is too much of a price to pay for letting myself take a few months off. Now I do not know what to do. It's none of our business at the moment, but I would advise you to try to figure out how you're going to survive with a house and its bills without a steady income. You can sell the house and get half the capital. If this is a quick sale, you should have enough money to last until you find a new job.
As Derek and the girls were about to leave the house, the phone rang. Derek said, "That must be Roger looking for a place to stay. Don't let him use any of mine, except for you, of course." He left before I could say his name. Hello? Lydia? I suppose you found out that we were caught. Yes, they just left. You bastard. It's not going the way you said it would. I shouldn't have fallen for your bait. Hey, I didn't seduce you. You attacked me in your office. I may have been hot when I was jogging, but you were on fire. We don't have time to argue right now. We need to figure out what to do to save our marriages and jobs. Can I come? Madge kicked me out. I really can't afford a motel. I think it doesn't matter now. But hurry up. I need to try to get some sleep tonight. Maybe we can do something tomorrow to at least save our jobs. Can you pick me up? I don't have my car keys, and I don't want to go back and deal with Madge again tonight.
The night of the fight was the last time we were together as a family. Before the scheduled divorce hearing, Lydia disappeared. The house was quickly sold. She took her half of the equity and all our savings and checks, I think out of spite. I wasn't worried. Most of our money had gone into paying for the girls' college. My share of the sale of the house was only about $20,000. A few years ago, we took out a mortgage to build a back porch and patio, so our net worth at the time of the sale was lower than it would have been a few years ago. I used the money from the sale of the house to replace our emergency fund, which I had used to pay for a child's university education. In fact, I didn't need the money immediately, given my income and lack of maintenance payments. Another reason I wasn't unhappy with my wife's departure was that I liked the idea of issuing an arrest warrant for my soon-to-be ex-wife for stealing half of my savings account. It was hardly enough to be considered a criminal offense. I suspected that in the near future I would have to add non-payment of child support. In the end, because of Lydia's actions, I decided to wait a year and file for divorce on the grounds of abandonment, which effectively confirmed the status and denied her the opportunity to come back to me later for money or custody. I refused to issue a warrant for Lydia's arrest. I wasn't interested in getting her back. Roger, strangely enough, stayed in the area. I heard he had found a low-paying job and was living modestly on his own. Madge told me recently that she is engaged to one of her divorced neighbors, but is in no hurry to get married. Once burned, twice shy. Well done. The girls and I did well. They're both at college now. Alicia will graduate next year. Edie can graduate in 3 years, although she is thinking about joining the Marines. The girls correspond with their mother on social media, but do not share any information about me with her, or about her with me, as I have instructed. I'm still working at my old job, and I have a girlfriend who has a pre-divorce settlement. With my girls gone and her son about to go to college, she will probably move in with me soon. We haven't talked about marriage, but we have talked about commitment and exclusivity. My sex life has never been better. She takes the pill and we use condoms. You know, I always have to be prepared. You foresaw this, didn't you?
Hello? Have you forgotten me? Of course Derek had forgotten. The girls were willing to keep in touch with me, but said that their father did not want to give or receive information about me. God, it's as if the first 20 years of our marriage were nothing. I was a good wife and mother in those years, damn it. I worked hard at home and at work. My money, along with Derek's, went to support the house, the girls, the cars, and all our bills. I put enough away so that I didn't feel guilty about taking what was left of our checks and savings. What little was left after Derek went mad. Pre-funding a girls' college? A brilliantly clever move on his part. How could I argue with that? I'm not the kind of bitch to go after money. I guess that's the main question. How much of a bitch was I? Did I deserve all the punishment I got after 245 months of being a good wife and mother, and only 3 months of being a bad one? I don't care what you say, count it yourself. I didn't deserve what happened to me. At least not all of it. In fact, it wasn't so much 3 months of bad behavior as 3 months of stupidity. Roger wasn't much of a prize. Much of his value lay in the excitement of keeping a secret and the thrill of taking such a risk. Once I was faced with that, the value of my relationship with Roger dropped to almost nothing. The poor man wanted to move in with me. He said I owed him for breaking up his marriage. Give me a break. Why did I leave town? I was a cheater with a horny loser and the photos to prove it. It seemed like everyone knew what I had done. I didn't trust Derek not to release the video and add to my shame in front of people who knew me. Overnight, he went from Mr. Sucker to Dr. Vengeance. When I left, I hoped to start over, waiting for Derek to relent and think about taking me back. So, here I am, waiting. I have a good job. I worked in finance for a health insurance company. I was the one who had to discuss with clients why they had to pay some money even though they had insurance. Now I'm working in a hospital, trying to explain to people why they have to pay the hospital money when they have insurance. Fortunately, Mr. Albright, my former boss, was honest about my abilities and told me why I was fired. My new boss said he was willing to take the risk of hiring me, but warned that any smell of lewd smoke from me would be an excuse for him to put out the fire. I have a nice little flat. I don't need much. I don't have a very active social life. Unfortunately, I spend a lot of time on a special chat site for women who have been left because of infidelity. It's amazing how well I've come off compared to some of the women on the chat. Hey, I still look good. Derek knows I can be a good wife and mother because I was. Does he really want to go through the whole middle-aged dating scene and get a new wife? I'll wait a bit. I hope the girls will finally give up a bit and work on their father for me. Derek prepared for our divorce. I am preparing for our reconciliation. I've spent a lot of time thinking about the good years. It doesn't take much. A song, a picture, a smell, a word, and I'm immersed in the land of memories. My heart feels a strange sensation, almost pain when I do this. I often cry. I can't believe Derek doesn't do the same, especially when he's with the girls. How many of his memories of girls have me in them? He should miss me. He has to. We meant too much to each other for me not to matter to him anymore. Derek, please look into the place in your heart that still wants to love me. He wants to forgive me. It wants to give me a second chance. I will never betray you again. I was stupid to flush 20 wonderful years of walking the same path together down the toilet. I hope he won't be so stupid as to let me go after such a short detour. Will he?